Hey there ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. And this is an Emirates Sky Cargo 777 arriving from Aquadilla. There are a couple of heavies underway at the moment. So let's quickly turn around the camera and zoom in on the next airplane. Good morning Cathay Spotter, good morning Kuni Linux, good morning Plane Spotter Joshi, Michael Jackson, good morning, Arjan Prins, goedemorgen, good morning, Dave A010, good morning, hey there Max, good morning, Vincent, good morning. Welcome everybody to the Saturday morning stream, your alternative for the coronation. We're standing alongside the Polderbaan once again, where this triple is coming in. It is another Emirates 777, this one coming in from Dubai, where it left 6 hours and 42 minutes ago. 11 years old, this airplane. A300 there. There's a little squeakiness in the brakes. Now, let's have a look. And up next is another pretty aircraft. It is the A350 from Finnair, arriving from Helsinki, where it left 2 hours and 2 minutes ago. The airplane is 5 years old, had its first flight in August 2017, and it is in the Marimekko Kivet livery, so with the dots on the hind half of the fuselage. Hey Rick, goedemorgen. Peter Gay, good morning. How's life in Slovakia? RF, good morning. Welcome everybody. The sun is out at the moment. It's already quite warm. When I was setting up, I was already taking off my hoodie. I'm in my t-shirt now, and I realized that I forgot to bring sunscreen, so it is that time of year again. Have to remember that next time I'm going out. The sun is out, it is 15 degrees centigrade, so approximately 60 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind is more or less non-existent, variable. The water where I'm standing next to is like a mirror. You can even follow the airplane in the water if you would like to. Cav okay, no significant weather. There is, I believe, rain showers expected. There are rain showers expected later in the day, but not as much as yesterday, and also later in the day. So in that respect, a better day than yesterday. Alright, next up are a couple of narrow bodies. The first one is going to be an Embraer 190 from KLM arriving from Hamburg, and after that an A319 from EasyJet arriving from London Luton. At the moment the Polderbaan is the only runway open for arrivals, although earlier this morning, again like yesterday, parallel arrivals were in place with 18 Center also being open. Kaagbaan is open together with the Aalsmeerbaan for departures, so that is runway 24 and 18 left. Always have to think twice before saying left or right. The next airplane to arrive is, as I said before, an Embraer 190. KLM arriving from Hamburg. Short flight, departed 45 minutes ago. This airplane, 13 years old, had its first flight in June 2009. KLM flight 1778. Well, Joshi, if you are going to Schiphol around 10:30, I am very likely still going to be around here, so do come and say hi if you are in the vicinity. And Kuni informing us that there's a 747 on arrival, expected in 25 minutes. Hey André, goedemorgen. See you in a minute, leaving from Leeuwarden. Awesome. Well, I'll be still standing here. Still quiet over here. There's a couple with their dogs sitting on the bench behind me. There's also somebody further up. There were already a few people who were spotting from the Spottersplatz parking place. Oh, and the couple has left, but there is now a cyclist who has parked over at the bench further down the road. At least he's trying to park his bike. EasyJet A319 arriving from London Luton. Departed 39 minutes ago. This airplane, 16 years old, had its first flight in November 2006. I tweaked the volumes of the Sennheiser and the DJI mic, or at least the lavalier mic. Turned down the voiceover one notch compared to yesterday, and turned up the ambient sounds one notch compared to yesterday. A lot of the arrivals were a bit quiet, although the heavies, when using the reverse thrust, did still make a lot of noise. So hopefully they don't make too much noise now, and hopefully you guys will be hearing the quieter arrivals a little bit better. If it is starting to clip, do let me know, because then it's just a matter of pressing a button and I can reset it again. In the meantime, good morning Colin, and thank you so much for your smiling face with sunglasses super sticker. Paul Jack, also good morning. A very good alternative to the coronation. Your wife is watching that while you are watching it as well. Seems like an excellent arrangement that you guys have made. Everybody happy, everybody's a winner. Well, I'm not much of a royalty watcher myself. I'll see the highlights on the evening news tonight when I get home again and have done other stuff in the rest of the day. But a big day over there in the United Kingdom today. Hey there, Michael Nobis, good morning. Hope you're doing well. So this next airplane, Ryanair 737 flight 2334, arriving from Malaga, where it left 2 hours and 30 minutes ago. This airplane is 17 years old and had its first flight in December 2005. Next up is going to be a Boeing 737-800 from Corendon Airlines, arriving from Palma de Mallorca. This is an 11-year-old airplane and it left 2 hours and 1 minute ago from Palma de Mallorca. Let's see, where is she? Still a bit far out, but I have captured it. Hey Victor, good morning. Checking in from Frankfurt Airport. Are you on the go, mate? Or are you just doing some spotting at Frankfurt Airport? Looking further out on flight radar, there is another 737-800 arriving after this airplane from KLM, arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle, and it looks like we will be seeing a 787-9 Dreamliner from KLM after that, arriving from Cartagena by the looks of it. Ah, working. And Peter K says, yesterday 25 degrees with a clear sky, today cloudy. And there are going to be thunderstorms. Now, I don't think we had thunderstorms over here yesterday, but Liberation Day did get wet for the majority of the country. There was a significant area of rain that passed over the country yesterday. I did get back in time to my car yesterday before the rain started, but on my way back home it did begin to rain, although it didn't last that long. The coastal region was spared, but the rest of the country did have a lot of rain for a large part of the day. Well, hopefully the thunderstorms are not going to be too severe over there, Peter, although a nice shower when it gets warm, really warm, can be refreshing, although also can get very humid after that with all the moisture that gets released from the thunderstorms. Oh, that's not that's not something you want to be caught in, Kuni. Being in a thunderstorm out in the open. Hey there, good morning, me Paul. Checking in from Ballina in Australia. Now, my topography regarding Australia is not that good. Is Ballina a place on the more populated east side of the continent, or is it more to the west or somewhere in the middle? Hey Mol, goedemorgen. And RF, I have no idea yet. Depends on how warm it's going to get, how the traffic is going to be, what the weather is going to be. Probably at least until the end of the morning. Maybe between 12 and 1, something like that. So this is the 737 from Paris Charles de Gaulle, arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. And after that we are going to see a Dreamliner. And we are seeing a nice little wheelie there. Opening signal for today's wheelie competition. And textbook KLM landing, keeping up the speed, staying on the runway, vacating at a later exit, making the taxi time back to the gate as short as possible. Now, Schiphol scarecrows are also present, as you guys can see. K1. The bird controllers, making sure that we get as little as possible bird strikes and other accidents relating birds. Now, next up is going to be KLM flight 741. And there she is. 7879 Dreamliner arriving from Cartagena, where it departed 8 hours 40 minutes ago. The airplane 4 years old. First flight August 2018. Hey, goedemorgen Grietje. Alles goed? And Meeple says that Ballina is on the east coast, just south of the Queensland border. Good to know. Is it a big place? Does it have a lot of inhabitants? I'm absolutely a noob when it comes to topography regarding Australia. Hey Paul, good morning. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well, mate. Whoa. The wheelie competition has really begun. It was a very smooth and soft landing there. Floating gently towards the ground with the main landing gear those last couple of inches, and a little wheelie to boot. Beautiful. Now, next up is going to be an A321 from Air France, also arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle, flight 1340, an 11-year-old airplane that had its first flight in October 2011. After that we are going to see a 777 from Turkish, arriving from Istanbul. Now, do I have the A321 already? There it is, okay. And the next plane, left of it, also already visible. Okay, well Peter, better brace yourself with a level 2 warning for thunderstorms. It's going to get noisy over there by the sound of it. And Keanu says that a friend of mine will land at 12 in a 777 from Vancouver. Well, if you're talking about 12 p.m, so in, what is it, 2 hours from now, I will very likely still be here. It will depend also on the runway usage at the time, but it's very likely that traffic arriving from the west will land on this runway, even if they were to reopen 18C again for parallel arrivals. Hey there Rolf, goedemorgen. And Mol asks if it's going to stay dry today. Well, I believe that there are rain showers in the forecast for this afternoon. So if it is going to stay dry here the entire day remains to be seen. How wet it's going to get and when the rain is going to arrive, I don't know yet. It is something to keep in mind though. I think the next couple of days, each day we can have a few rain showers during the day. It's always hard to predict where and when exactly they are going to arrive. Hey, goedemorgen Dennis. Good morning Sigrid. Liewe, goedemorgen. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are all doing well. Everybody who has joined in the meantime, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. You're watching the Polderbaan where we are seeing arrivals. And at the moment you guys are looking at Turkish flight 1951. It is a 777 arriving from Istanbul where it left 2 hours 55 minutes ago. 777-300 ER, 11 years old. First flight September 2011. Now, earlier we had parallel arrivals with both 18 right and 18C being open. At the moment it is just this runway, but that might change later during the morning, as can often happen. Again, here some squeaky brakes. And let's have a look. Peter K informing us that the Suparna 747 is expected in 10 minutes. Hey Leen, goedemorgen. The weather definitely is better than it was yesterday. Warm. Dry still, a few high clouds. Let me show you guys quickly. So this is facing south. This is facing east. The sun already quite high above the horizon. This would be looking to the south. This would be looking to the west towards the sea. Now there's no wind to write home about. It said variable in the latest weather update of Schiphol. But the water over here, you guys can see as well, it is like a mirror. Now I do see a duck couple over there already present. They are keeping themselves quiet. And here is an SAS CRJ arriving from Copenhagen. Vacating the runway over here where the first exit is. Making room for the upcoming traffic, and the first airplane to arrive is going to be an A319 EasyJet arriving from Birmingham. After that, yet another triple. Hey, good morning Vincenzo. How's life? Hey Wendy, goedemorgen. Good morning. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. And temp account, no, the SAS CRJ you saw just now was arriving from Copenhagen. This is EasyJet flight 27842 arriving from Birmingham, where it left 48 minutes ago. The airplane 13 years old and had its first flight in September 2009. And after that we are going to see a KLM 777 arriving from Now there's hardly any wind, you can also see by the windmills in the background. Normally, even if there's a slight breeze, they are spinning. Not so much now. Are the sound volumes of ambient versus voiceover, ladies and gentlemen? As I said earlier, I turned down the voiceover one notch compared with yesterday, and I turned up the ambient sound one notch, since a lot of the landings were a bit quiet, even though the heavies were a bit loud. Hopefully the heavies will not be too loud now, and more quieter landings will be a bit better audible. Sound is perfect, Lewis says. Good to hear. So this 777 arriving from Johannesburg, 300 ER. Bring it on with the wheelies. So this is the winner so far. The benchmark has been set. Lovely landing there. Hey Yorkshire, good morning. Gremlin, good morning. Hope you guys are all doing well. Next inbound KLM flight 1822, arriving from Berlin, Embraer 190, left Berlin an hour and 2 minutes ago, a 9-year-old airplane. Where is it? There it is. Just about visible. Hey Samil, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Well, the crackling should be resolved, Paul, since I upgraded to the Sennheiser. It's now more a question of, is the voiceover clear and not too loud, and also are the louder arrivals not too loud, and hopefully the quieter arrivals are a bit louder than they were yesterday. So again, Embraer 190 arriving from Berlin, 9 years old, first flight December 2013. Now I listened back the stream of yesterday, and I also heard the drop in volume in the voiceover yesterday. I have absolutely no idea what happened there. It was the first time that I ever noticed having that. And I have no clue what happened there. So hopefully it won't happen again, but if it does, do let me know. The Embraer vacating the runway over at the first exit. There are a few more narrow bodies inbound first. I do also see the 747 on flight radar already. There's also a 777 approaching and another Dreamliner. First we will see Corendon Airlines flight 3595 Boeing 737-800 arriving from Izmir in Turkey. Hey there, JBell 8888. Good morning to you. Beautiful light for filming and sound fine. Thank you so much for the feedback. Good to know. And welcome to AMS Live. A warm welcome to all other viewers as well. Michael Mos, good morning. All right. Let's have a look. Here is our next airplane. Recognizable as an EasyJet. It is another A319 arriving from London Gatwick. 17 years old. First flight November 2005. Departed from London Gatwick 46 minutes ago. Hey there, good morning Nelson. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Vacating the runway over there, first exit. Next up is going to be an Embraer 175. Just about visible. Behind it is a 777. Also visible already. The Embraer 175 in the foreground is KLM flight 1352 arriving from Prague in the Czech Republic. It is a 5-year-old airplane that had its first flight in July 2017 and it left Prague an hour and 9 minutes ago. Hey, goedemorgen Sander. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Now the Embraer vacating the runway at the first exit, making room for the 777 that is on arrival. There it is. This would be United Airlines flight 20 arriving from Houston, Texas. 777-200 ER departed from Houston 9 hours ago. The airplane 21 years old, first flight April 2002. Now also looking in the back, maybe you guys can see, is the Suparna 747. Okay, Wheelie contender number 2. Hey, guten Morgen Peter. Peter, herzlich willkommen. So, quickly back to the north with the camera because here is the first queen of the day, Suparna Airlines flight 87413 arriving from Nanjing in China, where it left 10 hours 45 minutes ago. It is a Boeing 747 that is 31 years old. Had its first flight in August 1991, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, Gremlin, I thought I saw that too. Spoilers deployed quite late. Normally already at the touchdown of the main landing gear they go up. Apparently it wasn't necessary. Okay, hopefully everybody still has their hearing. That was a loud landing. And Peter K asks if there are any ducks. There are. Over there, one duck couple. Now, as the Suparna 747 vacates the runway, still with the spoilers up, although the flaps seem to be retracting. Let's quickly turn around, because there is a Dreamliner from Air Canada about to touch down. Air Canada flight 808 arriving from Toronto. 6 hours and 51 minutes of flight. 8-year-old aircraft, first flight January 2015. Folks, if you're liking what you're seeing, do subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you turn on notifications so that whenever I go live in the future, you get a heads up and can join us for more live streaming action. Next up is going to be an EasyJet A320neo arriving from London Gatwick. After that, we are going to see a big Dreamliner 787-10 arriving from New York JFK from KLM. Peter K went almost deaf. Excellent. That's exactly what we are trying to achieve. Needing earplugs. Should issue a warning before going live. Do put in earplugs. You might get deaf. Pete Hoskins says, evening from Sydney. Evening to you, mate. Nice to see people from Australia also finding the channel. Hope you're doing well. All other viewers who have in the meantime joined us, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boyd. This is the Polderbaan runway 18 right. At the moment the only runway in use for arrivals over here at Schiphol Airport. You guys can see that the sun is out at the moment. It is 15 or 16 degrees centigrade, so just 60 or a little bit higher in degrees Fahrenheit. No wind to speak of. Cav okay. No significant weather, I believe, as well. Hey there, Super G. Good afternoon. Checking in from India. Where in India are you currently looking the stream at? Also a very large country. So, KLM flight 644, 787-10 Dreamliner arriving from New York JFK. Departed 6 hours, 26 minutes ago. The airplane, 2 years old, had its first flight in December 2020. There you can see that runway 24 is in use for departures. Looks like another Dreamliner taking off. Paradeep port in Odisha, Super G says. And Nelson says planes turn slightly to the left after landing. That is typical. If there is any wind over here, it is mostly coming from the west in most of the time, so it could be that they might do a little bit of crabbing. Although, if I look at the smoke of the chimneys over at Amsterdam port, it does rise vertically. But yeah, there might be a little bit of side wind. Now, what's in the pipeline at the moment? It's getting a bit quieter. The first airplane to arrive is an Embraer 195 from Lot, arriving from Warsaw. There it is. Morning, Leo. How's life? RF. See you in a bit then. Well, come on, focus. Not that hard. KLM style landing. Continuing down the runway. Vacating at a later stage. And Gremlin asks if I saw the Dakota leave. I didn't. Probably left from the Kaagbaan and went straight out in a different direction. You hear it first before seeing it, but I haven't heard it nor did I see it. Now, Joseph, greetings from the Czech Republic. Greetings back to you from the Netherlands, Joseph. We'll have to wait a little bit. I do hear some. Yeah, heard some horns being sounded. So we are going to see the daily firefighter patrol in a minute. Always a threesome. Although one time they did also have a fourth vehicle, though not one of those big ones that you are seeing right now. So they're going to patrol around the runway and they will pass us by here on this side of the runway in, what is it, 5 or 10 minutes or so probably. Now traffic is lining up on this runway. Let me take this moment to grab a sip of water. It is starting to warm up nicely already. Next time the weather is like this, I will also put on shorts instead of jeans. Because it is warming up nicely over here. No mosquitoes, but there is one fly constantly landing on my arm. Probably interested in what we're doing over here. Hey there Wayne, good morning, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Now you might be hearing the horns of the firefighters. There are also a couple of spectators on the other side of the runway, where there's also a road, a dead-end road. It ends, where is it? Yeah, it ends over here. You can also look at the airplanes from that side of the runway. Here's our next airplane, an A320neo from EasyJet, arriving from Jersey, where it left 58 minutes ago. This is a 3-year-old airplane, had its first flight in September 2019. Hey, good morning Bernard. Checking in from Decatur in Georgia. Morning and welcome to the stream. Here we have an E2 Embrear 195 from KLM arriving from Geneva. KLM flight 1926. The airplane left Geneva an hour and 15 minutes ago. This is a brand new airplane according to Flight Radar. Had its first flight a year ago in May 2022. So brand new, maybe not, but it is 1 year old. Hey Jens, goedemorgen, guten Morgen. In Vechta in Germany. Is that near the Dutch border? Or is it further land inward? Always good to work on your topography. Here a Dreamliner 7879 arriving from Las Vegas, KLM flight 636. The airplane left Las Vegas 9 hours and 32 minutes ago, and it is a 5-year-old aircraft that had its first flight in March 2018. You guys might hear it already. It is the daily firefighter patrol. Alright, the next airplane is knocking on the door, and the one after that is already visible behind it. So this would be Croatia Airlines, flight 450, arriving from Zagreb, where it left an hour and 45 minutes ago. This is a 23-year-old A320-200 that had its first flight in April of 2000. Now the next airplane is not shown on flight radar, so I cannot give you any background details, but it looks like a 777 of some sort. But it is a mystery airplane to me, as it's not on flight radar. Seven freighter from Emirates Sky Cargo. But where it is coming from, I don't know, unfortunately, cannot say. In the meantime, a very good morning to Jerry, and thank you so much for your super chat. Good morning from Portland, he says. Good morning back to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. And Remco says that officially the Emirates was going to Maastricht. So that is why I didn't see it on flight radar. I always have a filter on for inbound traffic Amsterdam. Obviously, if there are diversions, then unless they update the destination, you don't get to see that. From Kenya to Maastricht. Well, that's an interesting... Is that a regular flight? Do they regularly fly to Maastricht? Anyway. Up next, Tarom, flight 361 arriving from Bucharest, where it left 2 hours and 37 minutes ago. There she is, it is an A318, the baby bus. 15 years old already, had its first flight in November 2007. trying to find the zoom rocker to zoom out, but kept missing it. You'd think that after streaming for half a year or so, you would be able to find that knob, that rocker, with your hands tied behind your back, but missed it there. Now, another 777 arriving, KLM. Hey, goedemorgen, Pak Spatist. I'm doing well, mate. Hope you're doing well too. Lovely weather out here. It is getting a bit warm, but better warm than cold and wet. KLM flight 598 arriving from Cape Town, 777-300 ER. Another wheelie contender there. The plane is hungry, should go to Turkey. Absolutely, Jerry. The pun force is strong in you. Now. Hey there, Chunky, good morning. Good to see you. Next up is an Embraer 190 arriving from London City from KLM, and after that we will see another 777, this time round a 200 from KLM arriving from Liberia. This is the Embraer 190, KLM flight 984, Embraer 190. Left London City 38 minutes ago, 11 years old, first flight January 2012. Now if you're into airplanes, ducks, coots, grebes, and also puns, do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. This is the place to be. Still no movement in the background from the windmills. Hardly any wind at all at the moment, although there is weather in the higher atmospheres arriving from the south. Look at that! Nose up. Beautiful. Well, the pilot of this Embraer is certainly giving everybody a run for their money. Maybe not the longest wheelie we've seen, but definitely the most impressive, with a very high pitch. And yeah, Yorkshire, maybe it is the winner so far. Maybe the triple was longer, but this one was certainly visually more impressive. Might have to make that the thumbnail of today's stream after getting home, taking a screenshot and making that the thumbnail of the stream. Okay, well Leo, it's been a pleasure having you around. Hopefully we'll meet again soon. Have a nice day and have a nice weekend. This is KLM 719 arriving from Liberia, where it departed 9 hours 39 minutes ago. 777-200 ER, 16 years old, had its first flight in January 2007. Now, pipeline is filled already with a couple of airplanes. The next plane to arrive is going to be the baby 737, the 700. KLM arriving from London Heathrow, flight 1002. Departed 38 minutes ago from London. The airplane 14 years old. Had its first flight in March 2009. Indeed, a midget Boeing. Ah! Liberia is a city in Costa Rica. I thought the same thing. I thought it was a country in Africa. It is also a country in Africa, actually. In the southwest. But there you go. Apparently also a place in Costa Rica. Hence the 9 hours flying time, of course. I think the country Liberia would probably be 6 or so hours from here. Ah, ciao Luca, come stai? Benvenuti. Here is an EasyJet A320 arriving from Berlin, where it left an hour and 2 minutes ago. Flight 25283. 5 years old, this airplane. Had its first flight in June 2017. Michael Jackson proving that man can multitask as well, and not just only the women. Looking 2 streams simultaneously. And Luca can't wait for Air Canada at noon. Well, until then we will see many more other airplanes go before it. At the moment still the only runway in use, 18 right. We had some parallel arrivals earlier in the morning when it was also foggy. But the fog has cleared. The sun now hiding behind a few high clouds at the moment. Which I'm not too sorry about because it was getting warm here and I did forget to bring sunscreen while I'm out here in my t-shirt. So hopefully won't be too burnt after having done the stream today. Otherwise, still lovely weather. Probably a bit warmer than it was at setup already. Back then the temperature was already 15 degrees centigrade, so it's probably a bit warmer already. 17, maybe even 18 already. So mid to high 60s Fahrenheit. Wind, there isn't any. You can see the details of the clouds in the reflection in the water. Now the bird situation over here is as follows. There are a few ducks over there, a duck couple. Now I also spotted a heron, if I say that properly. Let me see if I can show you. There it is. Also arrived on the scene not too long ago. Now, quickly back to the next airplane to arrive. The beautiful Azzurro of ITA Airways, arriving from Milan. ITA Airways flight 120 left Milan. Oh, an hour or so ago. I have to calculate it, almost 1.5 hours ago. Didn't specify the time, so I had to look at the departure time and do a quick calculation. Lovely deep blue, whether it's cloudy or if the sun is out, very pretty to look at. The tricolore also on the tail, beautiful. Vacating the runway over there at the first exit. And Jerry also concerning himself about not wasting leftover margaritas. The sacrifices you bring to mankind. Outstanding. I salute you, my friend. Almost forgot that it was also Cinco de Mayo yesterday. You'd almost forget. Now, of course, today, Coronation Day in the United Kingdom. If you're a royalty fan, it has to be a memorable day then. E2 Embrear 195. Big, quiet, typical KLM landing, keeping up the speed. Nou, Peter van der Eyck, goedemorgen. Leon, goedemorgen. Good to see you all. I could maybe make a picture, Peter, post it on my page. Hey, what is that? Seems like there's a fire over there in the distance. Or somebody is illegally burning some garbage, but that's definitely not exhaust smoke. Now it seems that we are having parallel arrivals again, because there's also an airplane going to runway 18C, which means that we will most likely see traffic inbound from the south and from the west. All traffic arriving from the east will probably be directed, for the time being at least, to 18C. Now Peter K, if you want to have a look at the stuff I'm using, Lambert Blickman made a picture of me not too long ago while I was standing here. I also posted it on my channel page. If you scroll down, you'll also see a picture of me in action. In the meantime, I did upgrade my microphone, so that is a bit bigger. Hey Maxine, goedemorgen, good morning. And somebody is probably grilling Peter, says, well, if they are, then they maybe shouldn't add too much gasoline onto the fire as well. First up is going to be the first banana of the day. DHL A300 arriving from Madrid, 28 years old, first flight July 1994. There you go, one banana. Vitamins and minerals, and also a good source of potassium. Fibers too. A nice DHL banana. Now, up next, another biggie. This time around it is KLM flight 767, but don't get confused, it is an A330-300. Arriving from Bonaire, 10 years old, first flight January 2013, and it left Bonaire 8 hours and 23 minutes ago. Hey Frans, goedemorgen, and also Rolf, goedemorgen. Hope you guys are doing well. I certainly am doing well over here. Nicely spotting some planes over here. Still quiet in the sun. What more could you want? Ones we've seen already. And in the meantime, a beetle had landed on my, or I think it was a beetle, landed on my glasses and didn't want to go. Had to blow it off. Next up is going to be an A320 Neo, and after that another heavy. Now in the meantime, parallel arrivals, 18 Center also open again, so this is a view we haven't seen in a while. Landing airplane that you can see from a distance. That is the upside of the Zwanenburgbaan being reopened again. If they are using it from over here, you at least get to see the air traffic, unlike when it is directed to different runways. Now, if you look at the fire in the distance, you can see that it is still pretty much wind still. We don't use the chimney in the port area as a reference frame anymore, but we will use the smoke from the fire instead. This Neo is arriving from Geneva, where it left an hour and 17 minutes ago. Relatively new. First flight December last year. So it's still under warranty, this one. Also a wheelie. Pilots must have heard about the wheelie competition on AMS Live. Now, at the moment, on short final, a 777-200 arriving from San Francisco. United Airlines flight 968 departed from San Francisco 10 hours and 3 minutes ago. 777-200 ER, 25 years old already, had its first flight in November 1997. And I'm not sure about whether it is Westport where the fire is, Jerry, or maybe more to the foreground. It is also, I think, halfweg, or maybe even closer by Boesingerliede. But it could be in Westport as well. Okay, pointing the camera in this position, for the first time I start to feel a slight breeze. Didn't feel any breeze, but now I do feel a little bit of a breeze. Now, interestingly enough, there's also something causing waves there. Is it a bird that is going to submerge, or is it just the wind? You almost think something is swimming just below the surface, maybe a fish or something. Didn't see a shark fin, so it wasn't that, but now, looks like for the time being, well, we'll have to wait. There is a Qatar triple that is arriving from Panama City. That is most likely going to come this way. If it's not, then they are probably doing a check of the runway. In the meantime, we can have a look at this. What is it? Is it a Neo? I think I might be looking at ITA Airways. No. Air Malta. Oh, it's still the one in the foreground. Now the runway is further to the south than this runway. I thought it was the second airplane already, ITA Airways, but it isn't. Hey Samil, thanks for joining us. See you again soon. Enjoy the rest of the day and your weekend, mate. Now. Hey Peter PDK, good morning. Frans is saying a carper. That could be. Hey Pippi Pitto, guten Morgen. Herzlich willkommen. So this is ITA Airways. in Emiran. Best of luck with your flights. No need to be scared. Aviation is the safest form of transportation. Much riskier to get in a car or ride a bike or go out for a walk. But I can imagine that it is scary if you are afraid of flying. Now, here is our next airplane for this runway, and it looks like there's also a Delta A350 turning final, flying base. This is the 777 from Qatar Cargo, flight 8158. It is arriving from Panama City. It is a 777 freighter, left Panama City 9 hours and 28 minutes ago. The airplane 3 years old and had its first flight in September 2019. There's also a lot of traffic by the looks of it arriving from the east. Now, since those are mostly narrow bodies, let 18C handle that and bring all the heavies to this runway, is what I would say. Well, yes, I am planning to go live tomorrow, but as always it is very much weather dependent. But if the weather allows me to, I will definitely look to go live again tomorrow. Don't know yet if it's going to be in the morning or in the afternoon though. Alright, now, next up is going to be Delta Airlines Flight 74. An A350-900 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, where it left 7 hours and 48 minutes ago. And the airplane I'm going to turn our camera towards in a minute is 4 years old and had its first flight in September 2018. Barbie is still on over there, wherever that may be. Hey Edgar, goeiemorgen, goeiemorgen Edgar. You must have heard that 1,000 times already. Oh, that is an excellent gift your wife got you there, Michael. A biplane, including aerobatics. Exactly, Jokester. There is the A350. Can just about see it. There we go. Now folks, if you're liking what you're seeing, do consider subscribing to the channel. It helps to reach more people, and it also allows you to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live again, you receive notification and can join us once again if you have the time for it and are feeling like it. And your boy Jay asks where I am spotting. Well, at the moment I'm standing in the grass next to the polderbaan along the cycling path. If you go to the Spottersplatz and then follow the cycling path, you'll end up where I am standing at the moment. And indeed, Edgar, it is lekker weer, nice weather for spotting. Particularly now that the sun is hiding behind the clouds a little bit, and there's also a bit of a breeze, because when it was wind still it was getting quite warm actually. Standing here in my t-shirt, but I still have jeans on. In hindsight, it would have probably been better to start wearing shorts already. So maybe the mosquitoes would eat me alive then. But it is excellent weather for spotting. In fact, I am a bit surprised that if you look over here towards the Spottersplatz itself, and also further down the runway and the cycling path, I still have the place almost to myself, which I didn't really expect at this time of day, and also considering that it is a weekend. Unless Dutchies are more royalty fans than I had thought they would be, and they're all sitting in front of the TV watching the coronation. Peter K informing us that Silkway West Airlines is expected in 1 hour and 11 minutes. Was the sound too loud? Because I switched up the volume of the Sennheiser just one notch compared with yesterday, because even though the loud arrivals were loud, I felt that most of the quieter arrivals were a bit soft. Hopefully it's not too loud. And I also lowered the volume of the voiceover one notch compared with yesterday. Voiceover was still, well, not too loud, but still somewhat loud, and I think lowering it one notch would probably balance things out a bit better. Mol says, speakers almost blown out by the A350. I should also issue a disclaimer. I should issue a dual disclaimer before each stream. The risk of damaged speakers and the risk of damaged hearing. Watch the stream at your own risk. Yeah, Yorkshire, you might be right. There was a party, a Liberation Day party yesterday, and maybe people are hungover at the moment still. During the day there was a lot of rain, particularly land inward. Now I'm living pretty close to the coast. We did have a few droplets, but nothing too severe. It did start to rain quite, well, not heavily, but wasn't also a few droplets when I went home again after streaming yesterday. But land inward it was more fierce, although I don't think that people had thunderstorms. But the organizers of the Liberation Day parties did take preventative measures, and a couple of them sent the people home because they couldn't risk it. was this festival in Belgium a couple of years ago where really bad weather came over the premises and the organizers didn't send people home, so tents got airborne, and I think it also led to a couple of casualties. Something that since then festival organizers of course try to avoid whenever possible. Now, I heard on the news yesterday evening that to compensate, the Liberation Day parties were extended opening hours by the authorities. So it might well be that a couple of people partied on until late in the night yesterday. So yeah, 2 days ago, runway 18 Center, 36 Center also reopened for business. Hey Aniek, goedemorgen. Good morning. Good to see you, Aniek. And Mol said that in Zwolle the festival did get shut down for a few hours due to thunderstorms. Did it actually also thunder over there, or was it just a preventative measure? And Jerry said that the fire looks to be slowing. I sure hope so. You would think that by now the firefighters were on the scene and were putting out the fire, had begun putting out the fire. Now in the meantime, in the distance, more traffic to this runway is also approaching. The first airplane to arrive is going to be an Embraer 190. Let me pan and zoom into it. KLM flight 1516. It is an Embraer 190. It is arriving from Norwich, where it left 33 minutes ago. Also one of the shortest flights to Amsterdam. That is not a relocation flight. This airplane, 5 years old, had its first flight in 2018. And there was in fact thunder over in Zwolle, Mol says. And happy to hear, Aniek, that you are enjoying watching the stream. And yeah, Kuni, at the moment dual approaches. In fact, the most traffic looking at flight radar now seems to be directed to 18C. Something that we haven't seen since, what was it, December or so? I think they closed the runway somewhere in December or so. Maintenance that originally was planned to last until somewhere in April, mid-April I believe. Then it got extended to the beginning of May due to bad weather and cold. And now it's open again. All up. Just waving and saying hi to our friendly neighborhood, the police. Doing their patrol over here on the cycling path. Always nice to feel secure. Now, an Embrear from KLM 175 by the looks of it, arriving from Bremen in Germany. Now it's Embraer rush hour at the moment. There's also an Embraer headed to this runway. Hey Sasha, goedemorgen. Alles goed? Good to see you again. Ewald, goeiedag. Also checking in. Don't be shy, people. If you are liking the content, first of all, consider subscribing, and second of all, do participate in the chat. Friendly folk over here. If you have questions or if you have something to say or just to say hi, feel free to chime in. Now the wind is starting to pick up. There's actually a continuous breeze now going on over here. It isn't yet very much visible in the water, although you do see a few ripples. But if I just zoom in to the grass over here, you can see better. Or the dandelions. I think they are dandelions, aren't they? You can actually see the movement. You might even start to hear it on the microphone if I turn around the camera. This is facing the wind. The wind is coming from the south. Now, no sight of changing weather conditions yet. It was said that later in the day rain showers could occur, although when and where was unclear yet. This is an Embraer 190 arriving from Manchester, by the way. Also a little wheelie, although not with as impressive a pitch as the other Embraer did. Nice that a bit of a breeze is starting. Makes it much easier to stay out here without overheating myself. Hey Jan Kees, goedemorgen, good morning. And Chunky says that the mic wind protector is so good. Well, I do feel that I might hear wind noise a bit more than with the Rode video mic, but the Rode video mic had crackling and this microphone so far hasn't. Now Jerry, I wouldn't say that the fire is slowing down. It looks like it's actually picking up. Would be logical if there were no firefighters present and the wind is starting to pick up. Just wondering if this is a deliberate fire, maybe somebody getting rid of some trash or something, a farmer. Yeah, well, it is a company. It is an enterprise, but having a farm, being an entrepreneur. Wasn't it George W. Bush that said that it was a pity that the French didn't have a word for entrepreneur? So another Embraer 190 from KLM, this one arriving from Brussels. A flight so short that they are already preparing for landing after they have climbed to their, if you can call it, cruising altitude, which is still considerably lower than airplanes normally fly at. I think they don't even climb higher than 20 to 25,000 feet. And Jens asks if the snack cars are already back on the parking lot. Well, there are, and they have been for a couple of weeks already. Both the ice cream vehicle and the French fries vehicle. So yeah, definitely, if you want to get a snack and you are at the Polderbaan, well, if the weather is nice, of course. So today they will probably be there. Although they weren't there yet when I came on the scene. Next up, Delta Airlines Flight 162, Airbus A330-300, arriving from Minneapolis, where it left 8 hours 5 minutes ago. The airplane we are now looking at, 8 years old, first flight, April 2015. Get out the earplugs. Okay, or not. Guess they didn't feel the need to use the reverse thrust. It is always a pleasure when they do. I think they are the loudest airplanes out here, together with the 747-400s. And Leon says that regarding the smoke, still no alarm for the fire department. That's interesting. Holy moly. And Michael Jackson says that his shortest flight was from Philly to Allentown, literally an 8-minute jet flight in the CRJ 700. Do you need to cross some body of water to get from point A to point B, or was it just over land? And they said it's because it's cheaper for people to drive to Allentown, fly there to Philly, and then fly to the destination. Wow. Yeah, well, the economics of aviation can sometimes be very strange. You guys probably know the Wendover Productions channel. That guy, also an aviation enthusiast, and has a lot of interesting aviation related content as well, about the economics of airline carriers and why certain flights are existing even. Definitely a channel worth looking into if you guys haven't already, but probably most of you will. I think he has on his main channel 4 million viewers, subscribers already. And it was a short flight over land. Yeah. No wonder you only climbed to 5,000 feet. Does allow you to have a nice look at the surroundings, flying that low, but you are probably flying relatively fast, or you have to have the flaps lowered throughout the entire flight. Okay, interesting stuff going on. Delta A330 is arriving from Boston and is now on the glide slope for 18 center, which is odd because coming from the west you would think it would be directed to runway 18 right. However, we are awaiting KLM flight 758, and that is a 777 arriving from Panama City. So apparently not all traffic that is arriving from the west is coming to this runway. Hey man. Ja, heerlijk weer. So, it is just about to become visible. Let me have a look. There we go. KLM flight 758, 777-300 ER arriving from Panama City, where it departed 9 hours and 4 minutes ago. The airplane, 6 years old, had its first flight in May 2016. And Jens asks, is the fire gone? Actually, I think it is, or at least the smoke has stopped rising, so it's probably extinguished. Hey there, Doors Player, and hey there, Steven. Well, I am not concerned about 18C being reopened again. In fact, it allows for some spotting opportunities around that runway as well. Plus, when there are parallel arrivals taking place, you can also see them very well from over here. So definitely not too sorry about the reopening. Hey Michael Painter, good morning. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Now, the next airplane to arrive is going to be an Embraer 175. KLM flight 916. Arriving from Southampton. Looking at the picture on flight radar for a moment there, I thought it was a special livery, but it was a picture taken around sunrise or sunset, so the white looks a bit yellowish. I thought, oh wow, is it a green-blue special livery? That would be awesome. But unfortunately, just a regular liveried one. KLM flight 916, Embraer 175, arriving from Southampton, where it left 48 minutes ago. The airplane 5 years old. First flight January 2018. There we go. Ooh, almost a bird strike. Careful there. Where are the bird controllers when you need them? Hey, Luca, have a nice day. Was nice having you around. Hopefully see you again anytime soon. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Ciao for now. That rhymes. Alright, let me have a look on flight radar. Next traffic. There is a nice pipeline of traffic forming from the west. By the looks of it, all narrow bodies for the time being. 737 from Transavia, A319 from EasyJet, couple of Embraer 190s, 3 if I count correctly, another 737. Now, in the meantime, Mr. or Mrs. Grebes has also decided to show itself. Ah, I thought I heard something. There's a second Grebe. Maybe it's a Grebe couple. Hey Lisa, good morning. Good to see you again. How are you? Oh, Jens, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Seems like fire is in the hole again. For a minute there it looked like it had extinguished, but guess not. Looks bigger now than it did earlier. Doing well, Lisa. Was a bit warm in the beginning, but now a breeze has started blowing and makes for much more comfortable spotting over here. It's also a bit more cloudy now, although the clouds are still friendly if I show you guys. So this is to the west towards the North Sea. This is to the north, then inward to the east, and this is to the south. A little bit of milkiness. The wind seems to be blowing from this direction, from the south, as was the case yesterday. It is said that rain showers are expected later in the day, although it doesn't say when and where exactly, except that they were going to arrive later than they did yesterday. Well, that makes sense because so far, looking to the south, it all seems to be very friendly. Now, it was already 15 degrees centigrade or approximately 60 degrees Fahrenheit while I was setting up and beginning with the live stream. Probably more towards 20 degrees at the moment, or 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I have to check the METAR and update it actually, but not now because we are expecting more traffic to this runway again. So earlier this morning, runway 18 right and runway 18 center were in use for parallel arrivals. At the moment I don't see any traffic being directed to 18 center anymore. It was still the case not too long ago. Now again it seems like all traffic inbound is being directed to this runway, although I don't know yet what the Pegasus A321neo is going to do. Most inbound traffic now being directed to this runway, the only runway for the time being for arrivals. And the next airplane to arrive is an Embraer 190 arriving from London City. This is KLM flight 988. Departed from London 34 minutes ago. The airplane, 14 years old, had its first flight in January 2009. Hey there, Soka lover. I had to blow 2 flies from my arm. We were using that as a resting place. So not so much mosquitoes, but we do have a lot of flies here at the moment. And Harry says good morning from Ontario, Canada. Good morning to you, Harry. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to AMS Live. And another wheelie competition competitor. Now, funnily enough, the winner so far has been a very impressive wheelie by also an Embraer from KLM. Not so much a heavy, although we did also see a few impressive wheelies from heavies. So for the winner, for change, a KLM Embrear. I really have to look that back and try to see if I can make a screenshot from that. Use that as a thumbnail, because it was a very impressive looking wheelie. Glad you agree, Yorkshire. Still on board then. Alright. Now, yeah, the barbecue is still going on in the distance. Also, haven't heard any firefighter sirens or anything, so maybe it's a controlled fire by a farmer or something. Now, for the first time, if I show you guys the chimneys in the Westport area, you see some movement. So another confirmation that wind has begun to pick up a little bit. Not stormy by any stretch, but In the beginning of the stream it was really wind still. Now there's a mild breeze and it is very much welcome. Ooh, Harry, 5:30 still. Are you night owling or are you an early bird? Also a nice flare, but not a long wheelie. German Airways, regular livery, no chocolate cakes or other sweets on the outside of this airplane, unfortunately. Or maybe it's a good thing, depending on how you look at it. Peter K says, in a moment a Boeing 747 Lufthansa retro livery will fly over you. I think it might be this one. Hard for me to see on my screen. It is a quad jet. Looking at where the contrails begin because I don't actually see the airplane. The angle seems to be indicative of a 747, which has more swept backward wings than the Airbuses do. Right, now my camera is pointing upright almost. Let me try to go back to what's at hand over here. Smoke in the distance is starting to become more impressive. In the meantime, here is a KLM Embrear. Hey Evan, good morning sir. You gotta watch some sports highlights. Well, of course you do. But isn't it like 5:30 or so where you are living as well? Or are you still working night shifts and have you just gone back home from work? Okay, and Jens is now saying that the firefighters are hurrying to Westpoortweg in Amsterdam. 11:30. Okay, well, that seems to be a bit late. I think we saw it smoking already, what, 20 minutes ago, if not more? So there is actually a fire going on there, and apparently they are unable to control it. Meanwhile, thank you so much for the coin with a star super sticker, Evan. What kind of sports highlights were you watching, or have you been watching, or are you simultaneously watching? Now, the smoke is getting more impressive by the minute. The fact that the wind is also picking up a little doesn't help. Let me take this moment to take a sip of water. Leon says industrial fire, conveyor belt. Okay. Riet London terminals. Okay. So in the port area after all, Jerry. At an industrial place in the port area. Okay, so This was the A321neo from Pegasus, arriving from, well, somewhere in Turkey. Was it Izmir or Istanbul? I think Istanbul. The fact that it is landing over here tells me that 18 right is probably the only runway in use for arrivals once again. Otherwise we would have probably seen it from afar landing on 18C. Yeah, and the smoke is getting more impressive. Smoke and airplanes and birds. We've got it all over here on AMS Live. If you like industrial fires and airplanes, do consider subscribing to the channel. I cannot promise you more industrial fires in the upcoming streams, but I can definitely promise you more up close action from aviation over here at Schiphol Airport. Subscribing to the channel really helps me to reach more people like you and me who are also into content like this as well. Okay, it's still relatively early in Santa Monica, 2:34 AM, or at least if you get up around 11:30 PM, it's still early. Michael Jackson checking the replay of the Madrid Open tennis tourney. Journey. Also, LA Dodgers baseball highlights. And Leon, no, I don't use Notify. What is it? Haven't heard of that. Meanwhile, 777 arriving from Curacao. KLM flight 736. 777-300 ER. Right, what's in the pipeline? Another 777 from KLM, but it's going to be number 3. First up, an Embraer 175 and an A320neo. Now, can I see both airplanes? I think I do. Just about. Little hard as the sun is also shining on the screen. But there you go. Hey, good morning, Amelie. How are you? Good to see you again. Ah, sounds like an interesting app there, Leon. I'll have a look when I get home. Is it also available on Android? Anyway, first up, Embraer 175, arriving from Humberside, where it departed 40 minutes ago. The airplane you're looking at, 6 years old. First flight, July 2016. Hey there, Belgian Rail. Hello to you too. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Little fire in the background. Kiana asks where the big fire is. It is at over in Westport area, over at one of the companies. I think you can see it being mentioned a few minutes ago in the stream in the chat. Don't have the details at hand anymore. Forgot already. It was an industrial fire in the Westport area, over at one of the companies over there. In the meantime, a Neo from Anadolu Jet, Turkish, operated by Anadolu Jet. Very quiet. And Amelie is busy with studies, so this is definitely nice to watch in the background. AMS Live, your number one reason to procrastinate from studies and work since 2022. Right, so this is a 777-200 arriving from Toronto. KLM flight 696 left Toronto 6 hours 58 minutes ago. This is a 17-year-old 777-200 ER that had its first flight in March 2006. Hey there, Brian, and good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing alongside the Polderbaan 18 right, currently in use for arrivals. It is starting to get a little bit more cloudy. It is normal clouds and smoke clouds that you are currently seeing up in the distance. In terms of air traffic, let me also switch the angle of my camera and phone screen a little bit so I can see better. Inbound next, A321neo from Air Transat, arriving from Toronto, no less. A321neo, 2 years old. First flight October 2020. So arriving from Toronto in a narrow body, interesting. Just goes to show the range that these airplanes have these days. quiet airplane, but they still can get quite noisy, as you guys can hear when they apply the reverse thrust there. Now, a few more narrow bodies are lining up. The pipeline at the moment filled with narrow bodies. Here is the next one, and that is a Transavia. No, wait, I'm looking too far out, zooming in a little bit. 737-700 arriving from Berlin. The Transavia from Preveza is after that. I totally agree, Evan. I was also a little bit surprised, particularly given the fact that it also arrived from Toronto apparently. Now, normally speaking, you would expect a wide body to come from Toronto, being here in Amsterdam, but I do know that these Neos have a long range. Alrighty then, here's the Transavia arriving from Preveza. 737-800, Transavia flight 5792. Now, there aren't any ducks anymore in the vicinity. I don't see the Grebes either. I do see the bird controller out in the distance. Oh wait, I might see the ducks after all, but they are in the grass, so probably going to be chased away by the bird controller in a few moments. Two planes visible in the distance as well. The first one to arrive is going to be a Boeing 737-800 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. 23 years old, had its first flight in April 2000. Now the ducks are already heading out to the water. Hey Infinity, goedemorgen. Good to see you. And yeah, center is open again. I think they reopened 2 days ago in the evening, on Thursday. Around dinner time was when I first saw them doing a few departures from the runway again. And YouTube giving some background information about the fire that we are seeing at Rietlanden Terminals in Westpoortweg, Amsterdam. which is still not fully extinguished by the looks of it. So next up, Transavia flight 5822. 737-800 arriving from Bari, where it left 2 hours 15 minutes ago. The airplane that you are looking at, 13 years old, had its first flight in March 2010. Another little wheelie. Absolutely right, Yorkshire. A few floaty landings. Wind is still very much calm. You can still see the details of the clouds in the reflection in the water. Only a slight breeze. And that one airplane with its flexed wings is also approaching. So KLM flight 604 Dreamliner 10 arriving from LAX, where it left 9 hours 51 minutes ago. The airplane, 3 years old, had its first flight in December 2019. KLM flight 604. More heavies inbound. Now, according to Flight Radar, the next plane to arrive on the scene is going to be a 777-200. But looking visually, there is one on short final by the looks of it. Arriving from the left. Can I see it? There it is. Don't see it on Flight Radar. Unless that is the 777. Is that the 777? Okay, it might be the 777. Might have been the 777 that I thought it was a smaller airplane, but I think it is the 777 actually. Let me turn around and look on my laptop screen. Oh yeah, it is in fact the 777. Okay, well. Normally these kinds of approaches are only done by narrow bodies, but this time round it is also a heavy. KLM flight 744 is what you're looking at. 777-200 ER arriving from Lima, where it left 11 hours and 15 minutes ago, no less. The airplane is 19 years old already and had its first flight in April 2004. Floaty, really lovely. JBL 8888 says that there's another DHL banana over the English Channel. Is it heading for Amsterdam? Let me take this moment also to grab a sip of water. Stay hydrated. Two more airplanes are making their way over here in the immediate vicinity, or more immediate vicinity. The first one is already visible. Embraer 190 from KLM arriving from Bristol. There we go. And the Silk is also getting closer by. Excellent. Now, arriving next is going to be an Embraer 190 from KLM, flight 1050. It is in the Sky Team livery, this one. Arriving from Bristol, where it left 47 minutes ago. The airplane you are looking at is 11 years old and had its first flight in April 2012. Okay, so Cargolux 747 inbound. DHL banana as well. Excellent. Next up, Transavia, Boeing 737-800 originating from Kefalonia. There we go. Departed 2 hours and 57 minutes ago. The airplane 7 years old. First flight, March 2016. Nart standing behind me, waving from the cycling path. Always nice. Now in the meantime, the fire is still ongoing in the distance in the port area. The clouds are looking a bit more threatening, but overall they are still friendly clouds. Next up, KLM flight 682, arriving from Vancouver, where it departed 8 hours 36 minutes ago. This is a Boeing 777-300ER, 10 years old, had its first flight in June 2012. And it seems that there is going to be a Boeing 737-700 behind it, coming from the east, so from the right in the distance. Hard for me to see if you guys can see it. 3-inch camera screen, and it's almost fully illuminated by the sun at the moment. So if I zoom out and show you guys, this is the south. This is also where the wind is coming from. It's even a bluer sky than looking to the north. So this is to the west. Also not a lot of clouds, always the case. Oversea, not so much clouds. Looking land inward, this is to the east, many more clouds. Now funnily enough, to the north as well, most of the clouds at the moment. Now the weather is coming from the other side where it is mostly blue skies, so no need to concern ourselves about precipitation in the couple of times, the upcoming hour or so at least. The fire in Westport still smoldering. Hey Elske, goedemiddag. Just about. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. All right. Boeing 737-700. KLM. Arriving from Bergen. 13 years old, this airplane. Small fuselage and a big tail. If you compare the size of the tails of 737-700 and take for instance the 777-300 or the Dreamliner 10, they have such small tails compared with the 737. I'd imagine that you could apply the yaw and crab more extremely with this airplane than you would with those bigger ones, just because the control area is so much larger relative to the size and also the weight of the airplane. Anyway, that's just me mumbling about stuff. Let me zoom out a little bit, see what is in the pipeline. I see another 777 flying in the vicinity of Castricum. Before that, two 737-800s from Transavia are heading this way. First airplane to arrive. Let me see if I can zoom in on it already. A bit hard to see. Oh, it's more to the left. I found it. There we go. Transavia flight 5312, 737-800 arriving from Corfu, where it left 2 hours 37 minutes ago. The airplane, 13 years old, had its first flight in April 2010. Oh, and if I zoom out just a little, it's even better visible. The second 737 in the top left part of the screen. Following it, another 737-800 from Transavia. Oh, now the camera lost focus, so back in center with the first one. Now after the second 737-800 from Transavia is going to be a 777-200 from KLM. Transavia flight 6916 arriving from Olbia, where it left 2 hours 2 minutes ago. The airplane 13 years old, first flight June 2009. And yes, Sim, it is the old METAR. I haven't been able to update it yet. Let me see if I can do that in a minute. Because it has warmed up. And also wind has picked up as well, so it is no longer fully current. Now, before updating the METAR, we are first waiting for the 777. KLM flight 755 777-200 ER arriving from Guayaquil, where it left 10 hours 27 minutes ago. The airplane you are looking at, 19 years old, had its first flight in October 2003. Alright, the METAR has been updated just in time. There are a couple of heavies arriving shortly, among which a Queen. First up will be an A320 from Vueling arriving from Barcelona. Here we go. Vueling flight 8309 A320-200. Inbound from Barcelona in España, and the airplane left there an hour and 47 minutes ago. The airplane is 8 years old, had its first flight in April 2015. Okay, E2 Embraer 195, KLM flight 1414 arriving from Lyon, number 1, number 2, Queen number 2. There we go. So in the foreground again, E2 Embraer 195, KLM flight 1414, arriving from Lyon in France, and the airplane is brand new according to flight radar. Had its first flight in January this year. I'm not going to continue to follow the airplane for too long. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, the second queen of the day. Silkway West Airlines, Boeing 747-400 freighter, arriving from Baku, where it left 4 hours 53 minutes ago. This particular airplane is 17 years old, had its first flight in March 2006. And folks, if you are liking the stream so far, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Make sure to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live you receive a notification and can join us for more action in the future. Spoilers are down already. The flaps are already retracting, so no time to waste. Get everything up again and we're down. And now the taxi to the parking has begun. For those of you unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol Airport, this is the Polderbaan, the latest addition to the runway network of Schiphol Airport, delivered or active since 2003. The airplanes still have a long way to go. They have to taxi along this road with all the trees. Main platform area is out in the distance behind the trees. Now in the center of field behind the trees is the Schiphol control tower. It is so far removed that this runway has its own control tower over here. Still like a 15 or so minute taxi for the 747. Unfortunately we don't have too long because the next airplane is already arriving, and it is Delta Airlines flight 136 arriving from Detroit, where it left 7 hours 29 minutes ago. The airplane, 16 years old, had its first flight in November 2006. And Barbs, you were just in time for the Queen, the second Queen of the day. The UK may have its coronation of the new King, but we have the Queens over here in the Netherlands. Alright. Next up, an Embraer 190 from KLM, arriving from Stuttgart, KLM flight 1870, Left Stuttgart 57 minutes ago. The airplane, 11 years old, had its first flight in January 2012. Ah, André, where are you standing? Hey, goeiedag. Lekker weertje, jongens. Ah, dankjewel, man. Leuk, man. Het begint opeens een beetje druk te worden hier. Ja. Halve ochtend de boel voor mezelf gehad hier. So the banana that was referred to earlier will be number 2 after this Embraer. Paul Usher also saying hello, Andre. In real life, behind me, over here on the cycling path, where as you guys can see, if I zoom out a little, it is a bit more busy than it was earlier during the stream. And Yillard says that the third queen is China Airlines cargo in 17 minutes, so don't go anywhere, people. More queens inbound. After this Embraer, we will see an A300 banana from DHL, the second one of today's stream. Oh, the wind is actually starting to pick up a little bit. But looking in the direction of the wind, you guys can see that it is still blue skies. So, for whatever reason, the wind is picking up. Now, update regarding the fire. Don't see the smoke anymore. It was here before. Now it seems to have been extinguished. Alright, time to go back to the bananas. Here we go. A300, the second A300 from DHL of today's stream. Arriving from London Heathrow, this airplane left over there 40 minutes ago. It is a 20-year-old airplane that had its first flight in May 2002. Nice summary. Colorful picture there. Green grass, blue sky, yellow banana. Now all we are missing is a red fire truck. Well, Michael 1985. I have to say that the Zwanenburgbaan was already open 2 days ago in the evening, yesterday as well. But they did reopen again this week, that's for sure. After, what is it, 4 months or so after having been closed for maintenance. Now, zooming out a little bit. What I can see is that the China Airlines Cargo 747 is now flying in the vicinity of Dronten. There's also a 777 from Qatar before it. So Won't be too long before we'll be seeing the third queen. It will be preceded by a few narrow bodies. Looking a bit further out. Oh, we have two queens incoming, ladies and gentlemen. There is a 747-800 from Cargolux coming in from the west, and there is a 747-400 coming in from the east. So Peter K already went deaf for about 4 times earlier today. Well, prepare your eardrums for what is coming next. More queens are underway. 2 in fact within 20 minutes or so from now. Let me take this moment to also rehydrate a little. So yeah, tell me what you guys prefer better, 4 queens or 1 king and a coronation. If I had to choose, I know what I would choose. We have a little bit of a lull at the moment, but the first airplane to arrive is already visible in the distance. It is a Transat A737-800 arriving from Barcelona. Let me see if I can also zoom in on it. Yeah, there it is. Transavia flight 5132 left Barcelona 1 hour and 46 minutes ago. This airplane, 6 years old, had its first flight in April 2017. By the way, people, what is the status on the Emirates A380? What's its ETA? Around 1 o'clock or so, isn't it? So that means 4 queens and there's also a king incoming. Okay, ETA 36 minutes. Thanks for the update, Stephen. Michael Jackson could care less about the coronation. Come on, the man has waited all his life for this moment. Many decades already. Let's start a club of deaf plane spotters. What's that, Peter? I didn't hear you. And also a Icelandair Boeing 767, 26 minutes out, Steven says. So 2 queens, 1 king, a 767. A lot of stuff inbound in the next half hour or so. So unless you really have other stuff to do, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Now next up is going to be another Vueling A320 by the looks of it. I think I see the lights in the distance just about. Let me see if I can also show you guys. First need focus. Oh yeah, I do have him. Oh, but that's not in focus. Let's try that again. Don't think it is properly focused yet. As it gets closer by, it will become more sharp. I think it is still very far out for my camera to hold on to the focus. Yeah. Well, in that case, let's just wait a little bit. Schiphol Scarecrow out in the distance, not having to set off any fireworks yet. Now the Dassault Falcon is probably continuing. Oh yeah, the Dassault Falcon is going for the Schiphol Oostbaan, runway 22. Now, how about... Now, that's better. Okay, this is Vueling flight 1377, Airbus A320, arriving from Alicante in España, where it departed 2 hours 10 minutes ago. The Airbus you are looking at, 8 years old, had its first flight in May 2014, and yeah, unfortunately not a special livery, but a regular livery. From what I can tell on flight radar, it looks like the 777 from Qatar arriving from Doha is going to be number 2. Unless, of course, there are other aircraft coming in that aren't visible on flight radar, like the diverted 777 that was supposed to go to Maastricht, for instance. Okay, so Vueling departing or leaving the runway from the first exit. Now if you look on flight radar, it is heavies time. First heavy to arrive on the scene is going to be a 777 from Qatar, arriving from Doha, Qatar Cargo, flight 8205. 777 freighter that is 2 years old, had its first flight in April 2021. Hey there, Steve, 88, checking in from Sud Italy. Ciao e benvenuti, come stai? There we go. Now, after the 777, we'll see an A320 from Aer Lingus arriving from Dublin, a Boeing 737-800 from KLM arriving from Madrid. Looks like after that we are going to see the 747-400 from China Airlines Cargo, if I recall correctly. All these Chinese freighters look alike in their name. Air China Cargo, Cargo Air China, China Cargo Airlines. It's all very confusing. They didn't really put a lot of effort in coming up with original names. Suparna Airlines, okay, that's at least an outlier that is more easy to remember. Good to hear, Steve, good to hear. And Michael Jackson, I hear what you're saying. Every system has its pros and cons, of course. Massive engines, look at that. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of reverse thrust, if any at all. so it was a relatively quiet landing. Then again, that's good for the eardrums. Let's just keep it at that. In the meantime, if you guys can see more people, it has become somewhat of a standard Saturday over here with decent weather. Always a lot of crowds, either plane spotting or just having a walk or a cycle tour. Peter K says it has already started to rain here. Well, it was predicted, wasn't it? Hopefully the thunderstorms will not be too bad later then. And are you asking that, Paul? No Bart today? I have no idea. I haven't spoken with him in a while. I think a week or so for the last time. So I don't know. Next up, Aer Lingus flight 604, Airbus A320, standard livery, arriving from Dublin, 18 years old already, had its first flight in July 2004. Earlier this morning when I was arriving on the scene and I was walking to my current location, I did already see the national rugby team special livery A320 land. So unfortunately we won't be able to see that anymore unless it's going for another return flight to Amsterdam after having flown back to Dublin. Still, I like this livery better than the old one. Same for Icelandair. How about you guys? Do you prefer the newer livery or the old Aer Lingus livery? They also changed the shade of green, actually. Okay, Dave A010 loves the new livery. Even nicer. There you go. And Steven says one thunderstorm over Zwolle area now. Okay, well, again, quick showing you where the wind is blowing from. The sky is getting a bit milky, I have to say. That is a change. Obviously you can see more cloud formation. Let me also have a look on on the weather radar shortly. Okay, Yorkshire Biker also agreeing with Dave there that the new livery of Aer Lingus looks better. I mean, it's not ugly. I do like the old shade of green and the more, how to put it, it is more pronounced. It's more easily identifiable. Similar to how the new Icelandair livery has become much more bland with white and blue. So many liveries are already white and blue, and there they go, creating yet another one. Well, except for the one yellowish accent. Meanwhile, Queen number 3, ladies and gentlemen, China Airlines Cargo flight 5685. This is a Boeing 747-400 arriving from Mumbai in India, where it left 8 hours 35 minutes ago. This airplane, 20 years old, had its first flight in September 2002. If you haven't done so already, make sure to put in your earplugs. This might get loud. Well, that sure damaged part of my eardrums, that's for sure. Hopefully it wasn't too loud for the microphone and it didn't sound very clipped. Now folks, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. It allows you to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live in the future you receive a heads up and can join us once again for more action from Schiphol Airport. It also helps me greatly to reach more people like you and me who are also into aviation content such as this. Okay, well that certainly didn't disappoint. I fully agree with you there. Sound is perfect. Remco says, well, hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen, because we are in for another fourth Queen in not too long. In fact, we are only going to see an interruption between the two 747s by a lot Embraer 175. What's that, Peter? Say what? All right. Now, next up is lot flight 263. It is an Embraer 175 arriving from Warsaw, where it departed an hour and 47 minutes ago. The airplane is 11 years old and had its first flight in February 2012. I'm glad AMS Live watching on the telly also is satisfactory to you, Evan. To be honest, I never really tried looking back one of my streams on the television back at home. I have to do that once just to see what some of you are seeing when you are looking at the stream from TV. Keep forgetting that I also have a YouTube app on my TV these days. Most of the time I watch YouTube on my MacBook, but it is different, of course. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Queen number 4, Cargolux. Boeing 747-800 freighter, 11 years old, first flight May 2012. This one arriving from Miami, Florida, where it departed 7 hours and 50 minutes ago. Okay, I've officially gone deaf now. Time to go home. Too bad, Rolf. Still a few nice planes are arriving shortly, but if you have to go, you have to go. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the day. We'll see you when we will see you. Oh yeah, exactly. You can also Wi-Fi cast it from the phone to the TV. Now, I typically don't look a lot of YouTube on my phone. I have a OnePlus 6, which still is sufficient for everything that I use it for, but it only has one speaker and the speaker quality is not that great, so it does sound a little tinny when you watch videos on it. Now, the new MacBook Air has much better sound quality, so whenever possible I'm checking YouTube videos on my laptop, but I will have a look and see what the stream looks like when watched from a TV, just so that I know what you guys who do watch on that in that manner are looking at. Okay, Embraer 190 inbound from Nuremberg, first to arrive, a couple of narrow bodies now, after which we are going for some more bigger planes, hopefully. I haven't seen it yet. Now the windmills are also spinning in the distance, also indicative for the wind having picked up somewhat. We're vacating the runway over here at the first exit. In the meantime, Evan sent a super sticker with a red box of popcorn. Thank you so much for that, Evan. I am getting a bit peckish. I could go for some popcorn if somebody had it over here. Michael Jackson says that the Emirates is 22 minutes out. 6 more narrow bodies next, and then Iceland 500, says Steven. So 767 and an A380 are still expected in the next half hour or so. Oh, you have to go already, Evan. Man, that is a bummer. I am going to stick around for the A380 and also the Icelandair 767, so if you want to see them, do check the stream later when I will also timestamp all the highlights. That way you don't have to look it up and just follow the links that are in the description. But thanks for joining again, Evan. If I don't see you again during the weekend, enjoy the rest of your weekend and we'll meet again soon, undoubtedly. Take care, my friend. Yeah, Chunky, normally speaking that would be a good idea. Go to the car park and get some sausage and chips. I would skip the sausage because I have been a vegetarian since childhood, but the chips definitely something I could go for, had it not been that I'm a bit on a diet. So popcorn is a better option, unless of course it is also sugary and with butter and whatnot, but purely popcorn, bit of salt, actually not that bad of a food for diet. Will do, Evan, thanks man. And Dave A010 says watching on TV is really amazing, good quality video audio. Well, really pleased to hear that. That is exactly what I strive to achieve. Hi, ja.
Hier zo, hè? Deze opzetbaar. Weet je hier ergens een plek waar je kan kijken?
Ja, zeker. Je hebt hier aan het einde van de baan heb je een industrieterreintje zitten. Daar kan je op zich met de auto naartoe. Ik weet niet of je met de auto bent. Ja, daar kan je meer eventjes Google Maps pakken, dan laat ik het even zien. Okay, Pax Batiste says that the A380 is arriving in 13 minutes. Before that, we will see 2 Embraer 175s. First one arriving from Darlington. Just going to put the camera back a little. There's also a bystander here asking me directions to a good place to look for the departing traffic. Het staat hier ook, spottersplaats Aalsmeerbaan. Als je die in je navigatie stopt, dan kom je aan het einde van de baan. Dan, ja. Hey, maar over een kwartier komt de 380, hoor ik hier net van de kijkers. Dus, Emirates. Volgens mij niet in een special livery, maar hij komt er wel aan, dus... ja, precies. Nog even wachten misschien. Fijne dag, man. Dank je. Alright. Back again. KLM flight 1766 is what we are looking at now. It is another Embraer 175 arriving from Frankfurt, and 5 years old this one. First flight February 2018. Now, interestingly enough, with the wind and the sun hiding behind the clouds somewhat, I'm actually standing here with a little bit of goosebumps on my arms, which is interesting because I'm not that cold actually, but the wind chill is real. Hey Jean-Yves, salut! And indeed Infinity. The guy was about to leave for the Aalsmeerbaan for outbound traffic, so I showed him where the Spottersplaats near the Shell tank station, the petrol station is. But I did also warn him that the A380 is arriving in not too long, so maybe wait for that first. Duck bombs indeed, Koenie. Alright, so folks, we are waiting for an Icelandair 767. There is also the King, of course, arriving. First up, another Transavia 737-800 arriving from Zakynthos in Greece. Now, if you guys are wondering what am I hearing behind you or in the background, for some reason people are working over here. No idea what they are doing, but if you're hearing noise, it's a generator. All the places they are parking, they had to park right behind me. But then again, yeah. Yeah. I figured they were working. There are a lot of tubes over there, so that makes sense. Okay, now zooming out just a little bit, I can see that the A380 is just crossing the Markermeer over from Flevoland over to North Holland. Before it arrives, a few more other airplanes are coming in. First, this Air France A320 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle, and after that we are going to see Icelandair 500 arriving from Reykjavik, which is a Boeing 767 in the old livery, obviously. Alright then. Where? There. Here we go. Icelandair Boeing 767-300 ER, 23 years old, first flight February 2000, arriving from Reykjavik, where it left 2 hours 45 minutes ago. And I agree, Michael, the old livery of Icelandair is very nice. Paul asking when am I on again? Well, I'm looking to go live again tomorrow, weather permitting. I have to look at the weather forecast for tomorrow tonight, but assuming it's not going to be hellish, I am looking to go out again somewhere tomorrow. Not sure yet if it's going to be in the morning or in the afternoon. Suparna Rotterdam, goedemiddag. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Still a lot of planes lining up in front of the A380. Let's see. Yeah, looks like the A380 gets in line after 4 other planes. Right. Now, I did already upgrade my 10 gigabytes to 16 before going out, so as we are reaching a 3.5 hour mark of streaming, and assuming that the bitrate has been decent, I would reach somewhere between, or I would reach something like 10 gigabytes of data usage right now, but we should be okay still for a few hours. Now, the limiting factor today is going to be my stomach probably, and also my water supply. Top Air Portugal. In the meantime, a whole queue of airplanes is forming. The pipeline is reasonably well filled. Exactly, Yorkshire. Don't want to run out of data just before the A380. No, but it's a stupid thing. I mean, it is unlimited data, but you only get 10 gigabytes standard and you have to manually upgrade. It is for free, it's just a matter of going into the app and tapping a few buttons. So it's really a formality, but it is something that you shouldn't forget, particularly if you are a big data consumer as a live streamer such as I am. So it happened to me twice now, and I hope it's going to stay at 2 times and not a 3rd time. Try to increase my data bundle already after midnight, so I did it last night around midnight, just past midnight as well, so that I don't forget to do it before going out. I did double check to see if the additional gigabytes were added to the allotment of today, and they were. It's definitely a noob error that could have easily been preventable. Right. Now, the A380 is approaching the glide slope, the localizer. Still a little bit to the east of it, but approaching fast. Oh no! Oh no! No 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 no. The A380 seems to be lining up for 18 center. That is a bummer. So we're not going to see the A380 up close, but only from a distance. EasyJet A320 arriving from Geneva. This airplane, 13 years old, had its first flight in March 2010. ATC trolling indeed, chunky. Koenie says 3 streamers from Polderbaan now. Well, I did already see one in passing by. Are they all from streaming at the Polderbaan? That would be overkill. Okay, I have the A380 inside. Let me see if I can also center it for you guys. So this is the best I can do. Fully zoomed in. I could enable digital zoom, but then the image quality is only going to deteriorate. So yeah, third time in a week that ATC has been trolling us, sending the A380 to a different runway.
Opstijgen. Beetje laat, maar dan niet uitvallen hier.
Now it's a relative small loss in that it is a standard livery and not one of the extravagantly colorful special liveries such as the Destination Dubai livery that we are missing out on. Still much more interesting to see it up close, of course. This is the best I can do with my camera at least. Tail we can easily follow in between the trees. Here it opens up a little bit. I think this is where we are. Oh no, I was about to say this is where I think we are losing. We're going to lose him, but even now can still make out the tail. Oh no, it was even wings. Well, fortunately, this is the only bit that I can show you. Looking at the weather radar now, the flight radar, it seems that all traffic now seems to be directed towards the Zwanenburgbaan for the time being. Maybe they are doing a runway check. In the meantime, here is also the heron again, looking for fishies and quackies. Chunky, yes, you are allowed to spot at the end of the Eiweg, the road opposite to where I am. If you are referring to, I don't know if it's called the Eiweg, I think it is. It's over there. You can already see there are a few people. You are officially not allowed to park your car over there, but that's also the case for the other location more further down the runway on this side, where I'm also frequently standing. So officially you're not allowed to park your car over there, so you risk a fine if you do park your car over there and police is going to check. You could also park your car at Boesingenliede and then you still have to walk 20 minutes or so, I think. Quite a firm walk, but so for the time being, all the traffic seems to be, or at least, no, looks like there is traffic getting directed to us again. In the meantime, there is also a Turkish A330. There we go. So that is the upside of there being two runways in use for arrivals. If they do close down Polderbaan momentarily, and Zwanenburgbaan is also used, at least you get to see them from over here like this, which is still relatively okay. Although you don't hear the sounds that well. Actually still see quite a long part of the landing. So it seems that there is a 737 from KLM arriving from Zurich that is now on the glide slope. Oh, I'm totally missing out. Michael Jackson, if you're still around, enjoy the breakfast. I don't know if I'm going to be around in 30 minutes still. I think I might capture a few of the big birds that are now flying towards the glide slope. But then I am pushing towards 4 hours of streaming and I'm also starting to get a little hungry. So I think I am going to wrap it up after that. The next plane to arrive on this runway, visible in the distance just about. Boeing 737-800 KLM. Still a bit unclear. Maybe if I really center it, this looks better. Still far out, as you guys can see. KLM flight 1958 arriving from Zurich. 9-year-old airplane. First flight March 2014. Boeing 737-800 that left Zurich an hour and 5 minutes ago. Seems that there is a 777 from KLM arriving from Atlanta following it. Also on the glide slope at the moment, but further out still. Although according to flight radar it does seem to be flying in between both runways, so yeah, no, I'm pretty certain that it's going to arrive on this runway by the looks of it. I think I might even see it in the distance already. Hey Warren G, good morning from ATL. Well, as it happens, the next airplane to arrive is also arriving from ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. How about that? Excellent timing, Warren. So, where is it? There it is. A bit hard to see. Sun shining on my little screen. Not the brightest of screens, unfortunately, but if I hold my hand in front of it, I can see something. KLM flight 622 is what you guys are looking at, arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, where it departed 7 hours and 52 minutes ago. This is a Boeing 777-300ER, relatively new still, 2 years old, first flight December 2020. And timing is indeed everything, Warren. Okay, now looking on flight radar, there's another 777 that unfortunately seems like it's going to land on 18 center, but there is an A330 behind this triple that is from Delta Airlines and arriving from Minneapolis. So all is not lost. Okay, another wheelie contender. Now. Not a lot of reverse thrust, unfortunately. And Peter K, you missed a lot. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the traffic now seems to be directed to 18 center. So, what we all missed, not just you, Peter, was the A380 because it was redirected to land on 18 center. Next airplane to arrive on this runway is going to be an A330 from Delta Airlines. Let me also zoom in on it. Delta Airlines flight 164 arriving from Minneapolis, where it left 7 hours and 58 minutes ago. A330-300, 15 years old. First flight August 2007. Taking donuts to ATC to make sure that the A380 lands on the polder round, Chunky says. I wonder if you can bribe them with donuts. I thought that only worked on police officers, but maybe ATC personnel are also susceptible for bribes via donuts. Nuclear power plant employees sure are. Okay, another wheelie contender. We've had an interesting wheelie competition thus far, with the winner up to now actually being the pilot of an Embrear from KLM. Which I didn't expect beforehand. Now I'm still doubting if I need to take a screenshot from that landing and use it as a thumbnail. Or maybe take one of a flaring airplane with the fire that was burning earlier in the background with the dark clouds. Also makes for an interesting screenshot. We'll have to see. Kuni does nuts every day. Dough. Alright, now let me have a look on Flight Radar, see what is cooking. Let me also take a sip of water. Okay, so there are a couple of heavies that are close by, arriving from the west, more than likely going to come to this runway. Marimekko, flight 25 is one of them. Delta Airlines A330 arriving from Seattle, also being one of them. Now parallel arrivals is in full effect. If you look at Flight Radar, you can see them in the typical pattern. Airplane landing on the Polderbaan, leading the airplane landing on the Zwanenburgbaan. So I'm going to stick around just a little bit longer, just to see the traffic until the Marimekko Dreamliner. After that, I am going to call it quits for today. It's been a dry stream, at least longer, twice as long as yesterday. Unfortunately, yesterday we had to cut it short prematurely due to weather. Today, thankfully, that's not the case. I hope that the Sennheiser rejects the off-axis noise of that generator behind me, now right next to me, to the right. I hope it rejects the sound adequately. So I keep hearing it constantly. It's actually quite annoying. Hopefully it doesn't bother you that much back at home. Peter K asks if the DC-10 gets used to landing here. They did used to, back when there were still operators flying them. I think Northwest had DC-10s, and later the MD-11s. KLM also flew MD-11s. Later for cargo only, I think, and at some point in time they also flew them for passengers. Not sure if they were combination airplanes, part cargo, part passenger. It's hard to find DC-10s anymore. These days you can only find them in museum. Okay, Yorkshire, great to hear. Then at least you guys aren't bothered by the generator noise as much as I am. been awfully quiet in terms of water birds. We did see the 2 grebes, we did see that 1 heron twice, but now looking in the water over here, empty. I think the bird controllers did their job too well, chasing away the birds even from the canal over here. A321 Speedbird. Brits fleeing the coronation, seeking some pastime entertainment in Amsterdam. And Eva Elizabeth urgently requesting to stay after the KLM from Manchester has arrived. Are you referring to the 737-900 that is now just off the coast? And what is it? Two planes behind the Aeromexico Dreamliner. Okay, next up is the Delta Airlines A330-300 arriving from Seattle. Delta Airlines flight 144 left Seattle 9 hours and 13 minutes ago. This airplane is 15 years old and had its first flight in August 2007. So if you guys are referring to the Manchester inbound flight, that is just behind the Dreamliner from Aeromexico, I can stick around for that, make that the last plane of the day, no problem. You're welcome, you're welcome. So, parallel arrivals, you can see it on Flight Radar, you can also see the airplanes in the distance. Maybe one day I'll come back with a normal camera and a tripod, do a little time lapse of that. I think that might also be interesting. Did do that once when I was in Tokyo not too long ago, in 2016 or so. From a high rise, one of the many high rises that have panorama rooftop terraces, where you can also take great pictures from. Haneda Airport, which is of course next to the city center. And back in the evening, when visibility is good, you can really see the glide slope because of the back-to-back traffic, as is also happening here. And also parallel landings were taking place back then. It's always nice to see the landing lights back to back, visualizing the glide slope when it's dark. Of course, this is not the best time of year to do nighttime photography, as the nights are getting increasingly shorter. Ah, Lexi's sister is on the plane. Well, don't worry Lexi, I'm going to stick around for it. Do my best to capture the landing the best I can. Next up, a Dreamliner from Aeromexico. Aeromexico flight 25, arriving from Mexico City, where it left 10 hours and 10 minutes ago. This is a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, 9 years of age, and had its first flight in October 2013. Not the loudest of reverse thrust, but still made for a lovely sound there. Well, Kuni, I think, as there are apparently 2 other people also streaming at the moment, that maybe you can watch the 747 over there. No, I'm going to call it quits after the 737 from Manchester has landed. Tomorrow is another day. Hopefully a dry day like today. The weather, I'm positively surprised by it so far. And he did want that exit, yeah. If there's an A319 from EasyJet behind you chasing you, you want to vacate the runway as quickly as you can. This A319 from EasyJet is arriving from London Stansted, where it left 39 minutes ago. This A319 is 13 years old and had its first flight in September 2009. EasyJet flight, there we go again, 27840. Now you do see also with the Dreamliner just now that they do have to correct a little bit with banking left and right. Wind is definitely a bit more present than was the case at the beginning of the stream 4 hours ago. Nothing too severe, but you do notice the difference. And Yorkshire, you're absolutely right. Knowing Schiphol and ATC, they will probably direct it to 18 Center, that's 747. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, last airplane of the day. There we go. This is KLM flight 1074 in the SkyTeam livery. It is with a blue nose according to flight radar, which I have a little bit trouble seeing on my little screen. Oh yeah, now I see it a little bit better. Arriving from Manchester. Boeing 737-900 with Lexi's sister on board. Welcome to the Netherlands. Well, Lexi, your sister has landed safely. Now they still have to taxi back to the gate, which is probably going to take another 15 minutes or so from over here. But she's made it in one piece. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining me again today here on the Polderbaan runway. My name is Boy, you've been watching AMS Live. If you guys liked what you have been seeing, do consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me to reach more people like you and me who are also into aviation content such as this. Hopefully I will see you guys again soon. If not, take care for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and see you guys at the next one. Bye bye.